What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and I'm just going to go ahead and start this video by saying something I never thought I would say. Champions is one of the best books running in Marvel Comics right now. I know, right? If you followed my channel, you know I haven't been a huge fan of many of the characters that make up Champions. A crew that includes Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, Sam Alexander, Amadeus Cho, Viv Vision, some variation of Scott Summers, and maybe Gwenpool? I use all their real names because every single one of them exists while holding someone else's mantle. Khan as Miss Marvel, Morales as Spider-Man, Alexander as Nova, Cho as Hulk, Viv as a Vision, Summers as Cyclops, and Poole is some weird variation of Deadpool. That's a story for another day. And all of them feel like they were created to check some box on the diversity checklist. Muslim, Asian, Black, Hispanic, female, mixed races, all of them unabashed and put on display as trophies for a bunch of people that want to say, hey, look at us, we're super diverse. And I get it, okay? Representation matters. And I know that. And all it takes is following Marvel's Twitter feed, and you'll see it every day. My only gripe has ever been that it felt forced and not organic. It felt contrived. Using mantles as a crutch, to me, was a lack of creativity, and doing it at the expense of some classic characters seemed like an unnecessary slap in the face to fans who poured their heart and souls and hard-earned money into characters for years and allowed for there to be mantles to even pass on. This group of characters have floated around, some in their own books, some got lumped in with groups like the Avengers and the X-Men, and for all intents and purposes have had mixed results. I have to tell you, the payoff is finally here. As of making this video, I'm 4 issues into Champions, and it's near perfection. It's everything these characters needed to really come into their own, and it's time to really start taking them seriously. The writing is phenomenal. I didn't think it was possible for me to really relate to these characters, and that's one of the biggest struggles I've had with all of them. They're kids. They do kid things, and it's Marvel's kind of way of relating to a younger generation, and I get that. You need to do that. You know, the old timers like me that are 36 and, you know, getting mad every single time one of our characters gets changed. You know, we're not going to be buying comic books forever. You need to have that balance, and I get it. Again, I never understood why we needed Sam Alexander at the expense of Rich Rider. I mean, at this point, we've got a million Hulks, and it's kind of contrived, it's kind of weird, and Amadeus Cho has been around for a while. I don't know why he needed to be a Hulk, but it is what it is. A Vision family is strange, but I guess it makes sense. You know, I guess Vision can't be with Scarlet Witch forever. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, I never really had a huge problem with that. I've always thought she was a great character. Even though she was very specifically created to get that Muslim character out there. And that's fine. Again, representation matters. I understand that. And Miss Marvel wasn't being used. It makes sense, okay? Miles Morales, he's been around for a while. The whole Spider-Verse thing, I don't know, it waters things down a little bit, but whatever. The Cyclops, they had to figure out a way to bring him back, and this is just some weird version of Cyclops from the past that's come to the future. So look, I get it. We've got all these characters. They're young, and they're struggling to find their place in this world. Civil War II really ripped things out of the souls of a lot of these characters, and the events of the Marvel Universe right now is what has brought them together. Now, obviously, a little bit of a spoiler here. If you haven't read Civil War II, I think I'm going to do a review of it eventually here, but The events have caused Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, and Sam Alexander, 3 actual card-carrying members of the Avengers, to question their place in the Avengers, to question whether it's the right choice for them, if that's something that they really want to do and be. And they've decided to band together and create their own group. And that's where Champions kind of comes in. So for me, I think it's so important when you're reading a book, you need to feel something for it. Like, there's only so much that, punching bad guys in the face can do. And, this book has really made they're kids, they're still kids. And again, they're struggling to find their place in the world. But they're really doing it in their own way because they don't feel like there's any accountability anymore. And that's huge. And I think it's really cool to see them kind of grow up right in front of our eyes. As I mentioned, everything kind of starts as Civil War II is ending. Spoilers are ahead if you haven't read Civil War II, but the premise of that story is that the Inhuman named Ulysses can see the future, and it turns into a war between those that want to prevent the crimes from happening that he can see, and the others who don't want to punish people that haven't technically committed a crime yet. Towards the end, Ulysses has a vision of Miles Morales killing Captain America, and all hell breaks loose. Sam and Kamala actively help Miles escape capture from Captain Marvel. They're chased him pretty much everywhere. It leads into a huge battle between Captain Marvel and Iron Man at the end, and I won't get into what happened there, but it also results, once it's all settled, with Sam and Miles quitting the Avengers, and Kamala is kind of stuck there in the middle. She's torn because she worships Captain Marvel, and it's really rough for her to watch 2 people that are probably her best friends in the Avengers kind of walk away. There's some time that passes. They don't really talk to each other during that time, and it all kind of starts in Champions #1. It's the straw that breaks the proverbial camel's back for Kamala, as she's out on a mission with the Avengers that results in more destruction within the community as they battle another endless wave of bad guys and whatnot. And she kind of stands up to Sam Wilson and Jane Foster, again, 2 characters that exist holding mantles for somebody else. They want to kind of bail. The battle's over, and they're like, all right, we're out. And they want to bail, and she's like, well, look at this place. It's destroyed. What are we going to do? How are we going to help them? And Sam is just kind of like, hey, with Tony off the board, we don't have money to do anything. So they're going to have to fend for themselves. And she's just not okay with that. You're seeing her start to question morals, and she quits. She actually calls up Sam and Miles and wants to get together. And of course, they think that she's trying to get them to come back to the Avengers. But she actually cuts them off and lets them know that she's out. And that's where the Champions are born. They end up recruiting Cho and Viv to round out the crew. And then Cyclops just kind of shows up. And issue 4 ends with Gwenpool possibly joining the ranks. It's teased. We don't know for sure. So, we're going to have to wait for issue 5. But side note, I'm all caught up on Gwenpool. And her story is pretty awesome, too. But I digress. We'll get into that in maybe another video. This is a coming-of-age story, and I think that's what I appreciate the most about it. They want to do things the right way. There's compassion, there's anger, there's Twitter and #champions. They deal with exclusion when some of them initially kind of push Cyclops away because of what they perceive and what his future self ends up becoming. If you remember back to Avengers vs. X-Men, Cyclops was not a good dude. There are situations that challenge their morals and ethics. It gets a little political, but it's not so preachy that it's in your face. It's really, again, just I can't think of a better way to describe it than a coming of age. One of my favorite parts so far has been in issue 4. There's an exchange between Cyclops and Kamala. So I'm an Inhuman and you're a mutant, and everyone says we're supposed to be at each other's throats, but that feels so crazy. That's Kamala, obviously, and she looks at, or Cyclops looks at her and says, I like you. You like me? I do. Then we're good. It's stuff like that that we're kind of seeing in everyday society, and it's a good way of kind of dealing with these issues, but not being in your face with it, and that I've always questioned. It's one of the reasons why I've always questioned the motives of Marvel Comics when they're doing these things, is because it's always felt like they're just doing it for attention. They're doing it so that they can be on The View or they can be in Time Magazine. I don't ever feel like it's genuine. This book feels genuine. I think that's why I'm so excited about it. I'm glad I'm giving this book and these characters a chance, because I haven't in the past. I've followed them, I've read them, and it's something where I just didn't. It just never sat well with me, and here is their opportunity to change the perception for everyone. And I know that there's a lot of people that have followed them along the way that haven't had the problems that I have, that have accepted them right away, and that's cool. But for those of you that haven't, I'm telling you, as someone who's probably been called a hater, throughout their time in existence, that this is a really great opportunity to jump on with them. I'm really interested to see what Marvel Generations is all about, because it involves just about all of these characters. Amadeus Cho and Bruce Banner, Sam Alexander and Rich Rider. I'm going off the top of my head here. Kamala Khan and Carol Danvers, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker. So we don't really know what that's all about, but I'm interested to see what happens. I want to see this book succeed, but not too much, because I don't want to see this place get overrun by children. And they've already been teasing Moon Girl, Ironheart, and Wasp potentially joining the crew. I'm glad Marvel is letting these kids move into a phase where they can be looked at as young adults, and that they're not using the Avengers as a crutch. It would have been so easy to reform the Young Avengers and just throw these characters into that mix. But they are walking another path, and they are doing so not because of those that held the mantle before them, but they're standing out on their own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know what you guys think of Champions. As always, thank you again. Hit that like button. I'm begging for likes now. And leave a comment below and let me know what you think. We'll see you.